Hey guys, what's up? It's Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and I want to talk to you today about the Avengers. Now, after what feels like years of waiting, the first trailer for Avengers 4, which we now know is called Avengers Endgame, has finally hit the web. It was broody, it was moody, and then suddenly comedic. In short, it was everything we hoped it would be. Considering that movie studios usually put too much into their trailers, it feels refreshing to see one that is a lot more careful with the information that it reveals. But even though on the surface it seems like it's light on talking points, dig a little deeper and you'll find that there's actually some really interesting stuff to unpack. This may be the most vague Marvel Cinematic Universe teaser trailer of the lot, but that means that it's just perfect for speculation, in our opinion. Now, Wonder Boy that is Danny Megan took a close look frame by frame at this trailer and spotted some very cool details, which I'm going to present to you today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 small details you might have missed from the Avengers Endgame trailer. Number 8, Tony says rescue, a possible hint at his salvation. The Endgame trailer opens on a very dour note, quite appropriate given the end of Infinity War, but there's still hope. While Tony is delivering a heartfelt message to his bride-to-be, Pepper Potts, he mentions the word rescue, which might just be the key to his escape from this tricky situation. Now, earlier this year, an image of Pepper that was supposedly snapped on the Endgame set leaked online. In the image, she can be seen wearing an Iron Man-esque suit, note the space for an arc reactor in the center, while she stood in front of a green screen. But what does this have to do with the Endgame trailer and Tony's predicament? Well, rescue is the name given to Pepper when she dons her very own Iron Man suit in the comics. It's possible that she somehow receives Tony's messages and decides to try and save him herself with a little help from her new suit. Infinity War proved that Iron Man armor can withstand some pretty harsh conditions: alien planets, high altitudes, punches from big purple dudes, so it's not a huge leap to imagine that Pepper could fly into space and rescue her genius, billionaire, former Playboy philanthropist. Number 7, that ship isn't the MILANO, it's the BENATAR. When the trailer first released, it seemed like there was some confusion surrounding the ship that Tony is on. This is because a lot of people immediately said it was the MILANO, the ship that the Guardians of the Galaxy used to ride. But that's false. The ship in the trailer is actually called the BENATAR, and it's the craft that the Guardians have been using since they lost the MILANO in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Early on in that film, they crashed the MILANO after being attacked by a fleet of sovereign Omnicraft, which sound like a thing you pick up from IKEA. Rocket stayed with the ship in order to conduct repairs, but is captured before he can finish his work. This is the last time that we saw the MILANO. In Infinity War, the Guardians are flying the BENATAR. Note the huge front window that we can see in their very first scene in the film, which matches up perfectly with the window that Tony is looking out of in the Endgame trailer. In Infinity War, the Guardians landed this ship somewhere on Titan before their battle with THANOS. With every main Guardian who was on Titan being a pile of dust now, they clearly have no need for it, so Tony's just taking it for himself. Number 6, and Nebula is definitely on board this ship. Another topic of discussion the trailer generated is whether or not Nebula is on board the same ship as Tony. Though there isn't a definitive, conclusive shot that confirms as much, there is strong evidence to suggest that she is. In her full body shot in the trailer, we can see what looks like a pair of ladders in the center of the frame and the edge of a huge round window off to the far right. That window looks suspiciously like the one found on the front of the BENATAR. I mean, it even has that little rim thing that's running through it, which the main BENATAR window also has. And as a man, trust me, who studied your mum's rim for quite a while, I know what I'm talking about. There's my one per list. And then there's those ladders, the way that they're designed. Thin, chrome metal, lots of holes, kind of like a cheese grater. Look exactly like the design of several metal footholds that we can see dotted around the BENATAR in Infinity War. Plus, in Nebula's second shot, she appears to be caressing some of Gamora's clothes, and the BENATAR is the last ship that Gamora was on. Number 5, Tony's change of clothes and his new helmet. Tony is looking pretty messed up in this trailer. Understandably so, given the rough couple of days he's just had. Still, despite everything, he seems to have had access to multiple changes of clothes. When we last saw him in Infinity War, he was dressed up like this, a dark zip-up jacket with nothing underneath. But in the Endgame trailer, he not only has one, but two different tops. The first is this black vest that we've seen, and the second, a long sleeve shirt, can be seen in the wide shot of the BENATAR, which is floating through space. So exactly where did he get his clothes from? I mean, since this is the Guardian ship, perhaps they belong to Quill, but can you honestly say that Quill is likely to have a black vest top within his clothing collection? Not really. So is this just a continuity error, or is the trailer misleading us and the vest scene takes place deep into the film? Well, your guess is as good as ours. Tony can also be seen talking to an Iron Man helmet, which looks surprisingly good, considering the last time that we saw him wear one, it was ripped off and shattered by Thanos. I mean, maybe he had some remaining nanotech to build a new one, or again, maybe this scene takes place much further into the Endgame film than we think it does. Number 4, Shuri is missing. When Natasha mentions that Thanos wiped out half of all living creatures, we can see an image, we can see a holographic image of Scott Lang in the middle of the screen. But as we know, and as Cap and Natasha comically find out later, Lang wasn't actually snapped, which tells us that the remaining Avengers aren't fully sure where the rest of their teammates and friends are. If somebody hasn't reported back to Avengers HQ, it looks like they just assumed that they're dead or dusted. Which brings us to Shuri. Off to the right of the frame, we can see another holographic image bearing her face. Now, obviously, Banner and the rest of Avengers know that she's missing and are simply presuming that she's been dusted along with everyone else. But what if they're wrong here, like they were about Lang? For all we know, Shuri could be on some sort of super secret mission of her own. Maybe she's taken up the mantle of Black Panther in her brother's absence. In July, Angela Bassett told Screen Rant that Shuri survived the snap. So was she misinformed, or was she just lying? Either way, don't expect to find out what Shuri is up to, really, if anything, until you sat in the cinema on opening night. Again, it's just speculation. Number 3, Cap is wearing his Winter Soldier suit. Quite an obvious detail, this one, once you know it's there at least, but it's still easy to miss if you're not looking for it. Cap has sported a lot of different suits throughout his many appearances in the MCU, with some good, Age of Ultron, and some bad, the Avengers, but the best one was definitely the cool stealth suit that he wore in The Winter Soldier. And now it's back! Yes, Cap has changed outfits once more, stripping off his rather battered Infinity War costume and slipping into the garb he wore back in his 2014 movie. Now, he's lost the Infinity War beard as well, which has sparked quite a few theories, saying that maybe he might be travelling back in time to 2014, so he's dressed this way to look like he'll fit in more easily. That seems like a bit of a stretch, but after the unpredictability of Infinity War, it's no longer wise to doubt even the most outlandish of theories. Number 2, Thanos' SHREK cosplay and his limp. Now, the trailer doesn't actually show us Thanos in full, but we do get a brief glimpse at him walking through some field. I mean, there's not really a lot to take away from this shot, besides the fact it looks kind of like the same countryside that he was in Infinity War. I mean, yeah, great. But some fans have hilariously pointed out that his clothing of a white shirt with a rough hem kind of looks like Shrek's outfit. Don't know if that was an intentional one. Elsewhere, and this could just be us, but does it look like Thanos is sporting a bit of a limp? We already know that the snap has taken a bit of a physical toll on him, but could it actually be way worse than we think? Could Thanos actually be dying? Which would be an easy way to write off his character, come to think about it. But that would also mean that he's got nothing left to lose. So it'd be even more dangerous. Eep. We can also see the mangled remains of the Infinity Gauntlet, but none of the stones seem to be glinting. Looks like this Infinity Gauntlet is pretty much well and truly shagged, which leads credence to the theory that our heroes are actually going to be forced to assemble one of their own in order to reverse the snap. Number 1, the title card is a reverse dusting. It's safe to assume that Marvel pored over every detail in this trailer before releasing it, and it appears that even the main title card has a lot of different meanings behind it. First off, it's animated exactly like a reverse dusting. It starts off with a lot of dust and rubble floating around a cracked letter A, as seen in the trailer, and this rubble then slowly comes together and eventually fully forms. It's essentially the Avengers logo reforming itself from a destroyed state, a hint that our dusted heroes might return and the entire Avengers roster will unite to save the universe. Secondly, take a look at the actual Avengers text. It starts off very faint and ghost-like, but becomes clearer and clearer as the frames tick by. This further adds to the resurrection, reformation imagery that's present throughout this and surely going to be prevalent throughout the entire movie. And lastly, look at the light scheme. That light purple colour is a curious choice. It's the exact same colour as Thanos. Notice how the title card starts off with this bright purple light emanating from the background and dominating the entire scene before the Avengers logo lands on top of it and makes it go dimmer and dimmer until it can be barely seen at all. If that purple light is Thanos, then our heroes, well, they're going to snuff it out. So there we go. What do you think about all these speculations? Solid as a rock, or are we just getting snap happy? Let me know down in the comments section below, as well as any other mad or pretty Doctor Strange theories that you've got going on. If you want to show me some love, you can go over to RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter and follow this bad boy. And why not do yourself a favor and go to shop.whatculture.com for some dead memes on a t-shirt. I'm not wearing one right now, I've just realized, but there are dead memes to purchase from yours truly that will make you go purple with rage. Anyway, as always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!